Place to Water Sports, ahoy! How's everybody doing? Welcome back for some Big Bash action. Just getting the TikTok sorted out. And then we'll be all good to go. As it is the grand final rematch, BBL 13. The Sixers versus the Brisbane Heat. My team, the Brisbane Heat. In a grand final rematch. But I've got to say, as much as the Brisbane Heat are my team, I'm leaning towards the Sixers in this one, especially now. I was torn. I was 50-50 as to who would win this game, but now the bat flip, the all-important bat flip, has fallen the way of the Sydney Sixers, and it will be the Sixers fielding first. And we've seen that it is possible to win the bat flip, field first, and screw the entire game up. Melbourne Stars, right? I still think this will be a good, close game. My concerns around the Brisbane Heat this season, all around the batting. And it'll be interesting to see if they can set themselves a score here. The Gabba did become somewhat of a fortress throughout the course of BBL 13 when they went on and won quite unexpectedly. So we will see. We will have to wait and see, of course. Hoping Brisbane win, XJC. Well, fingers crossed. Brisbane Heat, of course, my team. But yes, as I said, leaning ever so slightly towards the Sixers at the moment, and especially on the back of that bat flip. Winning the bat flip, fielding first. And we've seen a lot of success from teams going out and bowling first and chasing down totals. BBL 14 is just sort of tossing that up. So, well, I mean, we'll have to see. Never judge a pitch until both teams have played, right? Renegades on top. Ahoy there, mate. Welcome back. The Renegades aren't on top at the moment, but I tell you what, they're very close. It's this team, the Sydney Sixers, that are on top. Dennis, ahoy there. Dennis says, go Sixers. Sydney Sixers, the only undefeated team at the moment in BBL 14. So there you go. There's a little statistic for you. Right off the bat. Oh, God, what happened? Changing colours left, right, and centre. Yeah, the Sydney Sixers, the only undefeated team thus far. That could, of course, all change very quickly, depending on how tonight goes. Who won BBL 1? Good Lord. There's a question and a half. Oh, man, I'll tell you what, it was very different back in the early days of the BBL. I went to the Gabba for a game in the early seasons of the Big Bash League, and you could literally go there on the day, buy a ticket at the gate. Like, these things never sold out. You could go to the Gabba, buy a ticket at the gate, non-allocated seating. You just walked in and you just plonked yourself down wherever you wanted. Those were the good old days. You would just make a snap decision to go. A bunch of us would be sitting around the house. I lived in a house, 4-bedroom house with 5 other people at the time. And there was one day we were just sitting around the house bored, and we're like, oh, you know, the cricket's on at the Gabba, the Big Bash. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. This new thing that they're starting up. The exact same day, the game had already started. Took the cab over and bought tickets at the gate, wandered in, and just sat down wherever we wanted. It's a little bit different now. It's a little bit different. Of course, you've got to buy tickets in advance just in case the game sells out. You've got allocated seating. It's certainly grown into a big deal. PJ on TikTok says, I remember going to the BBL at the Wacker. And I'm guessing it was probably pretty much the same. Jordan Awesome says, I think the Heat will get up. Dennis says Hayden Kerr is the GOAT. How times have changed, though. We talk about that a fair bit on the streams, about times changing, how things used to be. God, I remember going to watch the Broncos play at Lang Park and sitting on the hill. Obviously, there's no hill anymore at Suncorp Stadium. But it is, I mean, look, all credit to Cricket Australia. I mean, what a job. What a job to grow this. What a job growing this tournament into the spectacle that it's become. It's so big now. Lockie Mack, ahoy there. Mitchell Vella Sport, ahoy. Oh, the missed run out last night. All right, let's talk about that. Okay, so obviously it is, well, not obviously, I suppose, but I'm letting you know it's quite physically impossible to do every single game. And when you consider that we weren't even going to cover the BBL here on Wasted Water Sports, it was a snap decision, and I'm so glad we made that decision. But it's very tough to do every single game. I mean, mixing in social life and just, it takes it out of you doing every single game. I had earmarked last night as a game that I was willing to miss and just have a rest. But, so, of course, a game that I choose to sit out, something incredibly interesting happens, and something I don't think I've ever seen happen before. A run out, a legitimate run out. The batsman was short of his crease by a mile. The fielding team doesn't appeal. The umpire is looking around, just looking around at the fielding team like, anyone going to shout for this? No? Okay, I'll put the bails back on and move along. I've never seen anything quite like that. They spoke to Maxwell, apparently Renegades on top. They spoke to Glenn Maxwell on the player mic, and at the time, if it's the same player mic interaction as the one that I saw, they spoke to Maxwell on the player mic, and he had no idea what was even happening. Glenn Maxwell's like, oh, didn't know about that. UFC only fams, ahoy mate. Welcome along. D-Funk has got the Sixers winning tonight. I agree, D-Funk, especially, I think this would be a close game. I was torn. I was 50-50 torn in this game. But it was a big bat flip to win. And the Sixers have won the bat flip. And they have put the Brisbane Heat into bat. So we'll see how it goes. This, of course, as I mentioned, a replay of last year's final. Heat will win by 2 wickets is the prediction for PJ over there on TikTok. D-Funk had the Heat originally. I had the Heat originally as well, D-Funk, but I had already decided this was a game I was going to tip the team that won the bat flip and bowled first. Well, and or bowled first, because whilst you would surely bowl first if you won the bat flip, it's not a given, is it? XJC, hey Dan, did you hear about the South Korea plane crash that left 2 of 181 people alive? I did not. The Sydney Sixers, the only undefeated team in BBL 14 at the moment. Will they continue? Cody C says you can't win by 2 wickets if you bat first, can you? No. And it is time to get underway here. The grand final rematch at the Gabba, Brisbane Heat versus the Sydney Sixers. Let's go. Big Tommy Banton on strike. And they're starting with spin here and immediately picking up the man at cover for no run. Hussain. Starting the bowling. Reverse sweep and over the top of the infield. And it's all the way over the rope for 6. Well, Banton decides to live dangerously on the second ball, and Hussain has been lifted over the rope A reverse sweep. God, well, he made that look easy, Banton. None for 6, the start here. And a more traditional shot this time for Banton, just guiding it away to the offside for no run. Well, none for 6. This is a good start for the home side. Three balls gone. Starting with spin is something that we're seeing now a little bit more frequently. And they're back for 2. Swept away down there to fine leg. Banton, 6 or 3. Jimmy Pearson yet to face a ball. Oh, Renegade's on top. Thank you very much for the Heart Me and the Tiny Diny over there on TikTok. Banton backs away. Hussein follows him, and it's punched down to mid-on for a quick single. Well run. And Jimmy Pearson. Oh, did they run or did they send him back? Oh, they've nearly wiped each other out here, the Brisbane Heat batsmen. But they did come through for a single. Cruiser, ahoy, mate. Pearson prods at that and misses it outside off stump. An appeal for a catch behind. The keeper is the only one interested in this. Doing very well, thank you, Cruiser. Well, this has been sent upstairs. How bizarre. Oh, for a potential stumping. That was the appeal. I thought the appeal was for a catch behind. No, the appeal is a potential stumping, which, yes, as we can see, is quite ludicrous. Ludicrous. Sorry. Cruiser says, I'll be back. Gotta go see who I chose for this game. You chose Sydney Sixers. I just know it. I can sense it. How are you doing over there, UFC? You're doing extremely well in the Waste of Water Sports BBL Tipping League. For somebody who doesn't follow cricket at all, someone, a self-proclaimed non-cricket follower, is doing quite well in the Wasted Tipping League. Swings away from Banton. And he just lifts the bat out. Misses it completely. Jackson Bird into the bowling attack. Good start. Owen says, I tipped the Heat. Munro top run scorer. I was on the Heat, but I was on the Heat. That sounded wrong. I went for the Heat until the bat flip. Sixers won the bat flip. I think this was a key bat flip to win. As Banton tries to get the ram shot in. Makes a mess out of that one. Well bowled by Jackson Bird. He followed him, saw Banton moving across to the offside to set up that ram shot. And he just followed him all the way along. Bowling well here, Jackson Bird. Just pushed away to the offside for one quick run. Banton moves to 10 off 8. 6.67 the run rate. Not horrible. Certainly not horrible. We've seen much better starts from other teams, of course. Jackson Bird halfway through this over. A fuller ball. Gets it played uppishly to the offside, but it's dropped. Well, it was a tough chance. It was a very tough chance there in the cover region. Uppishly played. Diving away to his right. He got both hands on it, but it spills to the ground. Well, that probably should have been taken. It was a tough chance, but these need to be taken. And again, uppishly played from Banton, but it's over the top this time. Square of the wicket on the offside to point for 4. Nice shot this time, Banton. Last ball here for Jackson Bird. None for 15. And, oh, it's a good ball. Just pushed away for 1. 2 overs gone here. The Heat off to a good start. Well, Banton's off to a good start. 15 off 10. Pearson just 1 off 2. Danny Boy 17111. Cheers, mate. Doing a great job with these games. You're doing all of them. Can't possibly do all of them. Just physically can't do all of them, Danny Boy. I did have last night off. I'll be very selective now that we sort of see. Now that we sort of see who's now that we sort of see who the good teams are, who the average teams are, it'll be a little bit easier to pick which games I can potentially sit out. Like last night was one that I had earmarked as being able to sit out. But I will be doing a majority of them, that's for sure. Always do a majority of them, whether it be Big Bash, NRL, Super Rugby. We always do majority. Bruiser Cruiser says, you, my friend, are correct. I went for the 6s. There you go. I just had a feeling. As this one's right in the arc. And Banton says, it's a little late for Christmas, but I'll have that gift anyway. Thanks. A square drive over cow corner for 4. Well, actually, it's a bit more square of the wicket, isn't it? That's like deep mid-wicket region. Banton becomes the key here. 19 from 11. He's obviously seeing it quite well. Dorcius gets the outside edge up in the air and taken at short third man. Ben Dorcius gets the breakthrough, and wouldn't you know, the delivery before, I just say how well Tom Banton's seeing the ball, and now the outside edge, and he's gone. How many times do we see that? Mitchell Vella Sports says, do you think that New Zealand should have a Big Bash team? Look, controversial opinion, but no, I don't think so. Mitch Vella Sport, I don't see the need. If you understand what I mean, I don't see the need. Like New Zealand Rugby League needs to piggyback off the NRL for rugby league to survive, essentially. Survive I might be being a little bit harsh on New Zealand Rugby League to say survive, but it makes a lot more sense for New Zealand Rugby League to piggyback in with the NRL than it does to try and have their own full national rugby league competition. Cricket, on the other hand, T20 cricket specifically, is doing just fine in New Zealand. They've got their own competition. They've got their own version of the Big Bash that they're looking to build up. And I don't see the need. Well, there you go. Defunk, the resident Kiwi on the YouTube chat, has said we have a competition here called the Super Smash. There you go. I don't think it's really necessary. Jason Hayden, ahoy, mate. Beautiful outswinging Yorker there from Dorcius. Well played away from Colin Munro. What does that say? Is that DeHons? DeHons 03 needs Pearson for 10 runs. Just quickly before you go, XJC, to answer your question, what audience is better, TikTok or YouTube? For the cricket, TikTok, hands down. Big slash at this by Munro. They've come through for a single. Brings Pearson on strike. Jason Hayden, can't believe the Sixers are paying $1.85. What can't you believe about that, Jason? There's Michelle. Ahoy there, Michelle. What a day of cricket. Yes, the draw is all nicely, perfectly set up in the test match. And a big one here, a grand final rematch with the Heat taking on the Sixers. Ben Dorcius, 5 runs and a wicket off his opening over. A good start. And they've brought a slip into place. Pearson just guides it to the onside for 1. 1 for 22 it is. 3 overs gone. It's a decent start, really, for both sides. The wicket for the Sixers, but the runs ticking along nicely for the Brisbane Heat. Defunk says, did you know Susie Bates is the leading run scorer in international T20s? Second, Virat Kohli. New Zealand cricket does just fine. I didn't know that. And, international T20. I'm actually surprised Virat Kohli's up there, to be honest. I mean, obviously a quality player, just not somebody that I necessarily associate with like big hitting and quick run scoring that you expect from T20 cricket, if that makes sense. Jackson Bird, full delivery on the toes. Outside edge, away through the gap. Out to deep backward point for 1. Nothing at all convincing about that shot, though. Nothing at all convincing about that. Pearson and Munro at the crease only faced a combined 7 balls between them. It was Banton who was doing all the damage and facing all the balls to start with here for the Heat. Bird falling on the legs. A swing and a miss at that by Munro, and he picks it up and throws it to the keeper. No! No! I will have none of that. Oh, honestly, as a coach, I would be furious. It's like, what are you doing, mate? Bending over, picking the ball up for them. Let them use their energy to do that. Reef says, will Johnson get a wicket? I reckon he'll get 2. Talking about Spencer Johnson, of course. Spencer Johnson, the Brisbane Heat bowling attack, heavily reliant on him. They've got other options as well. Of course, Xavier Bartlett, who had a shocker last time out. Xavier Bartlett might be in for a big game, actually. He will be kicking himself over that last game against the Scorchers. But the key, as always, will be Spencer Johnson. As Jackson Bird, none for 8 off his 1.3 so far. In again, and beautifully bowled. Just punched away to mid-off for the single. The last of the power play overs. And, 1 for 23 is not necessarily good enough. We can't judge the pitch, of course. As I say, every stream, we can't judge a pitch until both teams have played on it. But this seems like a really, really slow start here for the home side. Reef has got Ben Dorcius and Johnson to both get wickets. I think, well, you've already got Dorcius, so you're off to a good start there, my friend. Swing and a miss at this outside off by Pearson. Jackson Bird with another dot ball. Only 2 from this over. He's bowling extremely well, Jackson Bird, for no wicket. No reward for him yet. But if he keeps bowling this tight, it will eventually, the reward will come. Michelle says, let's see if I can break my tipping losing streak tonight. Pearson, another swing and a miss. Well, that was an absolute nothing burger of a shot from Jimmy Pearson. He is not seeing the ball at all. He was nowhere near to the line and length of that. It was a hit and hope sort of scenario. You've never watched cricket. Oh, wow. For someone who's never watched cricket, you have put on an extremely solid multi. I'll give you that. How long until Spencer Johnson bowls? Okay. What would we say? 6:30 now. I mean, probably like 40 minutes to an hour away. Yeah, because he plays for the team that's batting at the moment. So we've still got to do 16 more overs of this, and then a break for 10 minutes, and then he will surely open the bowling. He's picked the ball up again, Colin Munro. Oh God! Somebody, please, somebody send the waterman out there. Send the water boy out there immediately with a message and say, stop picking the ball up for the opposition, you great big goof. Let them use their energy. Infuriating it is. You're not out there to play nice. You're out there to win. All right, I'll calm down now. Kerr into the bowling attack. Starts with a dot ball, and this one driven through the covers for 2. Oh, that's a shocking throw back in from the outfield. Oh, whoever that was in the outfield for the Sixers, that throw back in wouldn't have landed on the pitch if there were 2 pitches. Kerr in again. A big swing and miss from Colin Munro. A lot of air swings out there tonight. UFC, I thought you did register for the tipping contest. Well, somebody's in there pretending to be you then. I'll have you know. That's very, very interesting information to know indeed. That's fascinating. It's James, you reckon, Michelle? It could be. It actually could be. There's someone in there pretending to be you. Direct hit, but runners safely home. I've made mention of it on every stream so far about how UFC, got to give it to UFC, he doesn't even follow the sport, but he is right on our tails. Challenging. That's freaky. Freaky. What do you think of the new studio, the new screen layout, UFC? I mean, that's something that I know you do know a thing or two about. Turned away off the legs, square of the wicket for 1. I'd have to say that just off the cuff, 1 for 28 after 4.5. This is a slow start for the Heat. 5.79, the run rate. Renegades on top. Thank you very much for the finger heart on TikTok. Whatever a finger heart is, thank you. Those TikTok emojis just get more and more bizarre, I swear. Gucci Muscles, JB. Ahoy there, welcome along. End of the over, 1 for 28. The Brisbane Heat, this is an extremely slow start. Now, is it a tough pitch to bat on? Only time will tell that. Time will answer that question for us. Any danger of the lads actually trying to score some runs? Yes, there is the danger of it. They're throwing out a lot of big swings, but they're not making contact. I've seen more air swings out there tonight than me trying to play golf. One for 28 after 5. It seems like incredibly slow going. Well, Mitch Swepson seems to be of the opinion that it's the same as the last game here and that they get better as the ball continues to get older. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that, won't we? One for 29, Munro and Pearson. Josh Brown, I think, in my opinion, as a Brisbane Heat supporter, I am devastated that big Josh Brown has been lost to the Melbourne Renegades. And it's no surprise to see that Josh Brown has gone to the Renegades, among other people too, of course, but they are now doing really well. And the Heat just struggling a little bit at the top of the order. Chopped away to the offside for another run. Gucci Muscles has seen better contact in under 6 jiu-jitsu lessons as this one's pulled away from Pearson. Well, he has heard the negativity and the criticisms and he's decided to do something about it. Pearson's picked that one up, pulls it away through mid-wicket for 4. And that is more like it. A short pitch delivery dealt with. 4 runs. Noah, ahoy there. Told you Hurricanes would win. And win they did. Oh, edged and past the keeper for 4. Well, it doesn't matter how they come about. They will be taken. And back-to-back boundaries here. Back-to-back boundaries for the first time tonight. Just a lackadaisical little prod at this from Pearson, and he gets away with it. And that edge goes flying past the keeper for 4. Henriques, 10 off the over and pulled away again. Picks out the fielder this time, just the 1 run. Tipping UFC, tipping.cricket.com.au. Tipping.cricket.com.au. It's free to join. And if you make an account there, you can go to the leagues and you can search for the Wasted World of Sports League. And it's all free to join. Pushing this away on the offside for 1. 12 from the over. And that's the Heat's best one so far. Just looking to get a move along here. Get this innings tracking along. 1 for 40. Jordan, ahoy, mate. I was talking about this at the top of the stream, so apologies for those who have heard it already. But for the benefit of Jordan there, to answer the question, I knew going into the BBL, mate, it wasn't possible for me to do all games. And I sort of had yesterday's game earmarked as one that might not necessarily be that interesting. As it transpires, one of the most interesting things ever happened. Never in my life have I seen a run out that wasn't appealed for. A blatant run out. No appeal, so not given out. Walshy, thank you very much for the follow. Cheers. Do you mess about with TikTok by any chance, UFC? These BBL streams go much, much better over on the Wasted Water Sports TikTok. If you're wondering, all these random ghost names that I'm talking to. Hussein, back into the attack. All power to the impersonator if the impersonator wins, right? Because all it does is make you look good. Hussein versus Pearson. Good turn there onto the legs. Just the single. The Stars did indeed lose again. The Sydney Sixers, the only undefeated team at the moment. And the Stars, the only team who have not had a win. Just singles, though, will be A-OK at this stage, although Munro will push for 2 here. You would think, no, just the one. Well fielded, well thrown. And restricts them to 1 run. My God, they just had a close-up there of the batsman, the sweat that's dripping off them. The Melbourne Stars, honestly, the Melbourne Stars team on paper are way too good to be on the bottom of the table at the moment. It is ridiculous. But it's all right. I suspect what will happen is they'll find form eventually. It might be a little bit too late now to make a run for the finals, but they are certainly going to spoil the momentum for some of those top teams later in the competition. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. They are going to play the spoilers later in the comp. Liam, ahoy! Pulled away from Munro. Does he find the gap? He doesn't. That is extremely well taken. Oh, tell me that's not Jordan Silk. Jordan Silk is such an immaculate fielder, and he might have just picked him out here at deep mid-wicket. It is Jordan Silk. Well, of course it is. Munro steps back, pulls this over the infield, and Jordan Silk makes a lot of ground here to his right. Falling in the process of making that catch. Jason Hayden says they're doing this easy. They are at the moment. 2 for 44. Jordan, have I seen your post? Yes, I answered you. I say it's just not possible for me to do every game. Oh, hang on. Not your question in this chat. Your post that you tagged us in. Yes, I have. Sorry, I got confused there. The one that you tagged us in. Yes, I did. So what were you doing? You're watching old grand finals. Is that what's happening there? UFC only fans ask why I don't watch the NFL. Pretty much because it's a rarity that I have 8 hours spare during the day to watch an NFL game. UFC. Daniel Vettori Jr. into the bowling attack. Going back to spin. If they can eke out a couple of overs here with the fresh man at the crease, McSweeney. One of the greatest grand finals of all time, Jordan, 2016. Murphy, and again, drifts onto the legs, turned away to fine leg for one. 2 for 44. This is just painfully slow going at the moment for the Heat. Bias, question mark? Extreme bias. McSweeney on strike to face his first ball. Murphy in. Draws a shot that's uppishly played. They think about a run. They get all confused. McSweeney back in his crease. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the selectors dropped McSweeney fairly quickly. And, of course, Constance had the fantastic debut innings. A reverse sweep here from McSweeney. Can't beat the man. Kerr at backward point. Dives and saves 4. It'll be interesting to see if they persist with Constance. I think, honestly, they probably wanted Constance anyway. Quite honestly. So they'll give him time, I'm sure. Turned away for one. Pearson back on strike. Jordan, you watched the 2019 grand final, and that was boring. I'm telling you, 2016, it was such a good one. On the legs, uppishly turned away from McSweeney again. Into the gap. But, geez, he's got to be careful there. He's obviously not to the pace of the ball yet. And in fairness, he's only faced 2 deliveries. But certainly not quite to the pace of Murphy anyway. There it is. What the hell just happened there? It was like UFC summoned. That was UFC summoned from the abyss. That was so bizarre. UFC OnlyFans had just said, I always miss the OG green screen, and then it just magically partially appeared in the background. It just, obviously, it just tidies everything up, right? UFC just makes everything on the screen a little bit cleaner. And less distraction. Jackson Bird back into the bowling attack. His 3rd over now. He's none for 9 off his 2 so far. And immediately he starts on target. Full. And on the toes. And it's just pushed back down to mid-on for 1. Two for 49. Preston, ahoy there, mate. I've gone for the Sixers in this one, having won the bat flip and electing to field first. Two for 50 here off 8.2. And leaving this one outside off McSweeney. Not a test match, McSweeney. You don't often see a leave in T20, especially 8.3 overs into an innings. I mean, you do have to play every ball to its merits. But how often do you see a leave outside off stump in T20 cricket, right? Jackson Bird is bowling well. Drops this one in a little shorter. McSweeney takes a couple of steps down the wicket. Turns it away to backward point. No run. Waste of World of Sports, of course. The action beyond the Big Bash will continue. I've got a lot to talk about for those that might be interested in hearing it on the next edition of the League Lounge, where we'll be covering all the off-season happenings in the NRL. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about. Jackson Bird in again. Ball outside off and driven away this time by McSweeney. Beautifully through cover for 4 runs. McSweeney goes to 7 or 7. And will that be the boundary that just breaks the shackles a little bit and opens up the shoulders here for McSweeney? Will Main says, pull it together, Brisbane. Here they come, maybe. Oh, McSweeney gets one a little fuller this time from Jackson Bird. 9 overs gone, 2 for 54. This is nowhere near good enough at the moment. All right, how do I claim... I'm still very new here to TikTok streaming. How do I claim these live rewards it says that I have? This thing just popped up in my face and said, you have live rewards that expire in 24 hours. Claim them in Creator Camp. I don't even know what that is. Does anybody know what that is? Your Tier 2 flare will expire in 24 hours. Claim it now as Kerr starts with an outswinger that beats everybody. And the batsman raced through for 1 bye. Jason Hayden says Sixers will be very hard to beat this year. And Will Main says should have 55 or 5 overs. Well, they should have more than what they've got, that's for sure. Half volley outside off stump. Well fielded and covers. Jackson Bird, the big fella, getting down. Preston Hadfield, who do I think will be in the final of current form? Sixers versus the Renegades. On current form, like right now, going into this match, current form, Sixers versus Renegades. All new Creator Camp. You're now at level 3. I don't know what any of this means, to be honest. Wow. This is... Oh, okay. Claim. Right. You obtained a flare. Whatever that means. Here, I'll click on it. Where do I click on it? Kerr, with his 4th delivery, just 1 run from this over so far, bowling extremely well. Oops. That obviously wasn't right. Turned away off the legs by McSweeney into the gap. They should push for 2 here. The Heat, they do. A good throw, but they still come back for the 2nd. That is well run. Aha! All right. I figured out how to use a flare and what it is. As I said, sorry, I'm very, very new to TikTok streaming. So all these new fandangled things that keep popping up in my face. I'm like, what the hell is this? Kerr in again. Just pushed away to the offside for 1 run. Scott, thank you very much for the follow. Yes. Two for 58 here, the Brisbane Heat. This is nowhere near good enough. How are you, Will? Will Main. Yeah, all these fancy things on TikTok, like use a flare to attract more viewers to your live. And how? What is this thing? How do I even get... Yes, of course I remember you, Will Main. Absolutely. So for the Brisbane Heat, I mean, look, they've got players capable on their day of still pushing their score along. Max Bryant, of course, coming in late in the innings. When would I take the surge? Oh, that's a good question, because it's always a delicate situation, isn't it? When to take the power surge? McSweeney and Pearson out there at the moment. They do need to swing the momentum around here and try and get a move along. I'd hold off for a little bit, maybe. Yeah, 15 or 16, I think, is good. Because if these two are still there, 15 or 16 overs in, they'll have... they'll be well and truly set. You've got Max Bryant, who could move up the order. I would make sure that the surge is somewhere where someone like Max Bryant can come in and take full effect. But they really do need to consider getting a move along here, the Heat. They really, really do. If they can get themselves 140, 150, at least it's something to bowl at, right? It's something to bowl at. It might not be a big score, but it is something, and you just never know. Spencer Johnson, with something to bowl at, could get 3 or 4 wickets. At the moment, I think they'll just need to push for 6, 7, 8 and over. Take the ones, get the odd 2, punish the bad balls for 4. and then see where they're at. I mean, if you get to the 15 or 16 overs in, get to the 15 and 16 overs in, and these two are still there, I would much rather them get, what would you say? 40 or so more runs, 40 to 50 more runs at least, and then get themselves out for a big hit, and then bring in a Max Bryant or a Matt Renshaw and call the surge. What score do I think they're going to make? Oh, God. I mean, the way things are going at the moment, the score's not going to be that impressive. They need 12 and over to get up to 170. And they're just not making contact. Even there, Hussein tosses it up. McSweeney tries to give himself room. Two balls left in this over, only two from it. 12 and over gets them up to 170, but it's hard to imagine them getting there at this point. 3 runs from the over. Oh, there's still 2 balls left. What am I on about? Jason Payne says, need to get a good score before the rain hits. Apparently there is a little pocket of rain on its way. I was checking out the radar earlier, and it doesn't seem like it's anything huge. But there is the potential for rain. The radar looks very, very clear for the most part, apart from a couple of... there's basically just one pod of cloud hanging about that could cause an issue. B the Balls says, isn't it strange that the KO commentators no longer travel to every ground? Not necessarily. I mean, that's a lot. Yeah, Fox commentators. That's a lot of travel. You are way too excited, love. Speaking of the commentators on telly, whoever that is, she is far too excited. Reverse sweep from Pearson. Top edge. And it bounces just before backward point. Lucky to get away with that one. Daniel Vittori Jr. in again. Just floats it up. A little carrot there dangling for McSweeney. And McSweeney gets down to the pitch of this and lofts it into the stands. The bloke in the crowd is claiming the catch. I'm not convinced he caught it. Let's have a look on the replay. I didn't follow that at all. 85 meters into the stands. He's dropped it, and he's trying to claim it, the cheeky bugger. All right. Is McSweeney starting to see the ball? Turns this one away for one. They've got their 6 off the over. They don't need to do anything ridiculous. They do need to get a move along. But they do not need to do anything ridiculous. Down the leg side, Pearson just gets it past a diving Shaw. And they'll come back for 2. 10 from this over so far. A good one for the Heat. A rare good one. They do, of course, still have the power surge up their sleeve. When will they call it? Ooh, 12 overs about to be gone. Down the pitch, Pearson again picks out the fielder. Oh, what a catch there. Don't tell me it's Jordan Silk. Jordan Silk, he's not certain about this catch. A diving effort sliding across the turf. Oh, he's an amazing fielder, Silk. And he might have just pulled off a ripper of a catch here. This would be a big wicket, and this would change plans for a potential surge for the Heat. Dives across the... Oh, he's caught it. Oh, did he lose it? It's definitely into the hands initially. It is most certainly in the hands to begin with. Did it just bobble out the other side momentarily? Will that save Pearson here? Well, this is what I was talking about, right? They'd already got a 6 off this over. They were 10 off this over so far. It was not really necessary to do this. They'd already got their big hit off this over. Well, that's out. Oh. It hits the ground. Well, look, I have seen decisions made where if the ball, even if it is still in the hand, hits the turf, if the ball brushes the grass, even if it is still in the hands, if it hits the grass, it's not out. So this has gone in. Somehow that stuck, and right there, that frame. I think this is going to be given, though. An amazing effort either way here from Jordan Silk, one of the best fielders in the competition. And I fear for the Heat this is going to be out. And it is indeed. It is official. What a catch from Jordan Silk. He has added to his highlights reel. An ever-growing highlights reel for Jordan Silk. Pearson goes for 24 of 25. The Heat 3 for 72, and they're in big trouble now, although they do have a power surge up their sleeve, and they've got Renshaw and Bryant in the dugout, both capable of some immense big hitting. They need to do a lot of it from here on in. I'll be right back. I need to grab myself a another mixer. Be right back. Big wicket, that one for Murphy. Renshaw to the crease, which means the power surge may be... Oh, well, they're running out of time, aren't they? Well, maybe a couple of overs for Renshaw to get his eye in. Might not be the worst thing in the world. You've got to look for the positives in every situation, right? Find the positives in every scenario, and that wicket might not be the worst thing to have happened because the surge is beckoning, and they do need a big hitter out there. And big hitting is not something I necessarily associate with Pearson. I would much rather have Renshaw and Bryant out there for the power surge, firstly. Welcome along there, Turtle McTwig. Let's go Heat. Cameron says Matty Renshaw is so underrated. He'll get going here, but he has a little prod at this one, outside off. And a swing and a miss here. Dorcius back into the attack. Well, he starts with a wide, and that's why he missed it. He being Renshaw. Wide outside off stump. Way too wide, says the umpire. And Dorcius will have to bowl that one again. Renshaw lofts this up in the air. Under the ball, the man at long on comes racing in and takes the catch. And, well, the commentator's curse has struck. And it wasn't just the commentator's curse tonight. It was the TikTok chat room curse as well. Renshaw just lifts this one casually up in the air, straight down the gullet of the man at long on. Now, that's a big wicket. Wow, that's a huge wicket. The Pearson wicket was big. This one is huge. Renshaw back in the dugout. Van Dorschus 2 for 7 off 1.1 overs. He is bowling well. Bryant needs to bring the heat now, says CF Credits. CFC Edits. Sorry. CFC Edits 19. Max Bryant needs to bring the heat. Out to the crease. Bryant and Renshaw in tandem would have been nice. McSweeney 19 off 17 though. Let's give him a chance. 4 for 74 though. This is horrible for the Brisbane Heat. It's wide outside of stump. Bryant cuts it away for 1. It is interesting though, because I was talking all tournaments so far, which has not been very long, granted, but all tournaments so far, I had been talking about my concern for the Heat this year, going back to back, is that their batting looks a little bit fragile. And interesting that their loss last time out and the way that it's going tonight, the batting has been abysmal. Really missing big Josh Brown at the top of the order there. He's not the only one, of course. But he was a big loss to the Renegades. Dorschus in again. McSweeney pulls it away over the top of the infield. They'll come back for 2. Jordan Silk, I believe it was, out there making a lot of ground. Cuts off any chance of the 4. Logan, ahoy. Of course I remember you because your username is where I live. Easy to remember. Four for 77, 12.3 gone. Dorschus in again. Just pushed back down to mid-on for 1. God, I would take 110 at this point, the way they're going. My concern would be they get bowled out for under 100. But they do have batsmen capable here. McSweeney and Bryant could recover this innings. Bryant, though, a slash at this outside off. Another air swing. It seems to be very difficult to get to the pitch and the pace of this ball. A tough wicket to bat on, perhaps. And the Sydney Sixers, of course, winning the bat flip, sending the Heat into bat. Dorschus, his last ball. Oh, that's a wide. He might have to bowl another one, Dorschus. Second wide of the over. Jacob Allen, ahoy, mate. Benny Dorschus, he'll try this again. Better line this time. And just turned off the hip. No run, though. I don't think. Yeah, Matt Renshaw just lobbed it up. Lobbed it up to long on. I go for the Brisbane Heat, Jacob, unfortunately. Obviously, last year was a surprise, but a pleasant surprise. But I fear it's back to normal proceedings this year as the power surge has been called. The Brisbane Heat have called the surge. Bryant and McSweeney at the crease. Cohen says, you think that's bad? I go for the Adelaide Strikers. The Adelaide Strikers are all right. Quite a solid team. Kerr to bowl. The opening over of the power surge. This is it for the Brisbane Heat. Yeah, you feel like a quiet surge here. I didn't want to mention anything at all because there are supporters of that team here. So, and a swing and a miss outside off stump. An appeal from behind the stumps, and it's been given. Well, we've started the power surge with Max Bryant back in the dugout for 2. A worse start to the power surge the Brisbane Heat could not have possibly received. 5 for 80 now. And the undefeated Sydney Sixers well on top here at the Gabba. Beautifully bowled to start the surge. Just short of the length, nice and tight, cramping the batsman up for room, and Max Bryant just hangs the bat out. And a soft edge through to the keeper. That was really poor. Cameron says it's over. It's done. The only thing that Brisbane Heat supporters like myself have to cling to at the moment is Spencer Johnson. Spencer Johnson to bowl a hat-trick in the opening over. Big Paul Walter out to the crease now. Well, here's a man that's capable of some big hitting. 5 for 80. The Heats, their backs against the wall here. The foot's on the throat from the Sydney Sixers. Kerr to bowl to big Paul Walter. And he turns it away off his legs for 1. They will not push for 2. Just the single puts McSweeney on strike. Five for 81, and well, the Brisbane Heat, they've made a complete cock-up out of this. Calling the power surge, obviously, for Max Bryant, one of the biggest hitters in the BBL, being out there. And he gets himself out on ball number 1. Incredible. Lockie Max says Bryant has not done much for a very long time now. Well, I'm glad that they moved him down the order, because for so long he was opening the batting and it was the complete tits. And not the good kind of tits, you know? The bad kind of, it was man boobs type of tits. Really bad. Kerr in again. Half volley. McSweeney pulls it away. Does he find the gap? No. Well fielded by Jordan Silk. They push for a second. CFC Edits 19, was Bryant out for a golden duck? No, he got a couple of runs at least. Got himself a couple of runs. 5 for 83, 13.3 gone. Kerr bangs this in short. McSweeney lets it go. It's not a test match, McSweeney. Have a go, mate. I understand completely. They're 5 for 83, but I mean, have a crack. That's test match batting, dropping arms and letting the ball through to the keeper. Three runs and a wicket. Oh, the Sixers are bowling outstandingly. Take nothing away from that. As a Brisbane Heat supporter, it's very easy for me to talk about how bad the Brisbane Heat are going, but yeah, let's quite clearly acknowledge just how well the Sydney Sixers are bowled. Let's take absolutely nothing away from that. Winning the bat flip, the Sixers winning the bat flip, electing to bowl first, and they have been on point from ball number one. One of the worst power plays for a batting side that I've seen is a testament to how well that they bowl. Michelle reckons that he's practicing for his test recall. He saw Consters get bowled out cheaply today and went, that's it. I'm in with a chance here. I could be recalled. I'll show them my wares tonight. Walter on strike. Just pushes it back down the ground to long on for one. 5 runs and a wicket off the first power surge over. Not good enough by any stretch of the imagination. And the Brisbane Heat in big trouble here. I'll be right back. Ugh. Ben Dorshus back into the attack, and it's a 4 to start. Big Paul Walter pulls this one away. And that's a better start here, the second over. Some runs off Dorshus would be nice, Walter. Can't beat the infield with this one, just the single. Ollie says Jordan Silk has been on fire. Jordan Silk, for his fielding, and I know that he offers a lot more than just fielding, but Jordan Silk, for his fielding alone, is one of the first names on my team sheet if I'm picking a BBL team. He offers so much more, obviously, but just the fielding alone gets him the call up. 5 for 90. 5 runs off the opening 2 balls here. Dorshus bangs it in short. McSweeney pulls it, but there's protection in the outfield. And it will just be the single. Will Main says easy dub for the Sixers at the moment. Certainly, yes. Looking good for the Sydney Sixers. And those of us that tipped the Sydney Sixers to win. 6 from this over so far. Slower ball, bangs it in. Just trying to lure Big Paul Walter into the shot early. To sky it. Doesn't fall for it. Gets the single. Singles won't be enough, though, you suspect. Yeah, Ollie, I was exactly the same, mate. I as a Brisbane Heat supporter, I was going to tip the Brisbane Heat, but I had decided that I would back whoever won the bat flip and elected to bowl first. It happened to be the Sixers tonight, so it always hurts when you have to tip against your own team. But, yeah, the Sixers, when they won the bat flip and elected to field, I immediately went, it's a 50-50 game, but if they bowl well, they'll be on top. J Kidd says it hurts to watch this. Oh, I know, 5 for 92. This is, I thought it was bad the other night, the Heat against the Scorchers. I was wrong. It gets worse, apparently. Defending champions, tossing up this dross. Wide on the legs. Pulled away, but picks out the fielder again. Eight runs from that over. 2 for 21 for Dorcius off his 3 so far. Ross, I tipped the Sixers, but I support the Brisbane Heat. I tipped the Sixers immediately after the bat flip. When the Sixers won the bat flip and elected to bowl first, I thought they'll probably win this game. Certainly not doing it as easily as they are at the moment. I still thought that the Heat might be able to put on some kind of score. But we'll see. Let's not all become Debbie Downers too soon. It looks horrible at the moment, but there's still 5 overs left to try and do some damage. Try and give Spencer Johnson and Xavier Bartlett something to bowl at. Swepson, Kuhneman, Big Paul Walter, they have the bowling attack to defend a total, but a total needs to be set. Down the pitch goes McSweeney. Skies it high in the air, and he has just enough on it. And it's over the boundary rope for 6. And there we go. They need a lot more of those. He got just enough on that. McSweeney has decided to go. How does Daniel Vettori Jr. respond? Drops it in short. Pulled away to the leg side for just 1. 100 runs up. Oh, this... Sorry. Yeah, this is all dog. Yeah. All dog. Walter turns it away off the legs. Down a fine leg for 1. 8 from this over so far. When I came back from the bathroom before, I thought, oh, she looks a little sad and lonely over there. I'll pick her up and give her some attention. And a dot ball, Murphy. Well bowled. No one's paying attention to you, huh? Five for 101, 15.4 overs gone. Down the pitch, McSweeney goes again. Exact same shot as the first ball, but this time he doesn't get enough on it. And the man at long on just plants himself under it and takes the catch. And Daniel Vettori Jr. gets the last laugh here against McSweeney. Back in the dugout, 34 runs, 34 valuable runs. But wicket number 6 falls. James Vincent was down there under it, takes the catch well. 6 for 101. The Sydney Sixers well on top, undefeated in the tournament so far, and looking very likely to keep it that way. Another Brisbane Heat wicket in the dugout. Go the Sixers, says a username. How do I set? Hang on. Xavier Bartlett out to the crease. His highest score is 42. He's going to need all of those. Murphy. His last ball turned off the legs. Bartlett comes back for a second. That's well run. Four overs left. 6 for 103. The Sydney Sixers well on top. We always say, of course, don't judge a pitch until both teams are batted on it, but wow, I feel like that's a bit of a stretch in this instance. The Sydney Sixers winning the bat flip and electing to bowl first and doing the job at the moment. Hussain, 1 for 17 off his 3, and he's about to bowl his last over. Big Paul Walter and Xavier Bartlett, they have a job to do when it's time to bowl, but boy, some valuable runs here with the bat if they can get him. Walter, slog sweep for 4. Well, that's a good start to the over. Big Paul Walter drops down onto the knee and slogs this one away. Six for 107. Hussain again. Walter backs away from it, gives himself some room and pulls away for 4. Back-to-back boundaries. Big Paul Walter has obviously decided that this is the over he's targeting. Pressure now on the bowler. Hussain, wide outside of stump. Is it called? It is. 2 boundaries and now a wide. He'll have to bowl that again. 9 off this over so far. Could this be the over? Walter goes again, picks out the fielder. Picks out the man at cover. No run. A valuable dot ball, that one. 6 for 112. Hussain wide again. And again, Walter just cuts away. And picks out the fielder. Another dot ball. Scott, your 7 app is behind. Yeah, those apps have a tendency to do that. I had to, another dot ball, wide of off stump, cut away. And just picking out the man at cover again. 1 ball left. Hussain has recovered nicely in this over. And again, this time, uppishly played, bounces just short of Henriques. And 4 dot balls to finish. Hussain certainly recovered well and tidied up that over. 9 off the first 2 deliveries. With 2 fours and a wide. So he had to re-bowl that one. But then 4 dot balls to finish the over. He recovered so well there, Hussain. Yeah, Scott, so we used to stream off the apps through Chromecast. And when I say we used to stream, I mean that's what we used to watch. We would watch the apps on through the Chromecast, and yeah, what we found was they were always behind. So we switched over to the traditional antenna for free to air, and the old school cable hookup for Foxtel. And now we're back ahead of the game. Jackson Bird to bowl his last over. He's been immense so far. None for 14 off his 3. Jordan says that every 6 or 4 the sixes hit donates $1,000 to a charity. Oh, very nice. That is very cool indeed. Noah reckons the Sydney Sixers win this in the 12th over. Jackson Bird to big Paul Walter. Wide outside of stump. Too wide. That's surely going to be called. Oh, no. He's got away with that one, Bird. It's a top ball. But I think the umpire was just saying to him there, it was pretty close, mate. It was pretty close. I wouldn't push it any further than that. Jackson Bird starting well. A 1 run and a dot ball. Oh, a half volley. And just pulled away past the infield for 1. They might push for 2. They do. They do get the second. That's well run. But boy, Jackson Bird, he got away with that. It was a half volley right on the legs. Well pushed for 2 there, the Brisbane Heat. Six for 115. 2.3 overs remain. Walter, 19 of 14. Back on strike. A full toss outside of stump. Cut away, and they'll get just the 1. And again, loose delivery, unpunished because they're out of batsmen, really, is what it comes down to. The Brisbane Heat have got themselves in a situation here where they ran out of batsmen. Paul Walter, capable of a big hit, as we've seen, but not necessarily a natural batsman. Xavier Bartlett as well. Bartlett is capable of putting them in the stands, but more often than not, he's going to miss out. Steps back and clubs this one away through mid-wicket for 4. Well, over the top of the infield. Over the top of mid-wicket. And 1 bounce over the rope. And that's it. He's capable of it, Xavier Bartlett, but having to rely on him, it's a very big ask for Brisbane Heat. But that 4 will most certainly help. 6 for 120. 1 ball left here. Jackson Bird has bowled extremely well. And it's cut away by Bartlett off the top edge. Lands just short of Silk in the outfield. And they'll get a single. 9 from the over. That is a very good one of Jackson Bird. They will take 9 off Bird, that's for sure. 6 for 121. 2 overs remaining. The real thing, says Sean Abbott. In for Mitch Marsh. And Carey up to 6. For some reason, I thought Mitch Marsh played for the Perth Scorchers. But, of course, doesn't matter at the moment, does it? He's busy in Test cricket. Kerr 1 for 13 off his 3 so far. Again, bowled extremely well, like all the Sydney Sixers bowlers so far tonight. Bartlett on strike. It's a full toss outside off. Just punched back down the ground for 1. And Hussain is leaving the field here. Walking off with the trainer. Well, that'll be interesting. Six for 1-2-2. Well short of a score here, I would say. The Heat, Cameron says, if only McSweeney and Pearson didn't chew up all those balls. Yeah, well, we called it at the time, didn't we? And it's now easier to say with the benefit of hindsight. But, yeah, it would have almost been better off them getting out. They both got scores, but in the end, it amounted for naught, really, didn't it? Scott says, what do you think the Heat will finish on? Geez, at this rate, 135, 140 if they really push. Just another single. They're pushing for 2. They have to. Needs a good throw. But that's a well-run 2. I mean, you would expect at least 1 run a ball from here. So another 9 gets them 134. A couple of big hits. I mean, if they could eke out 150 somehow, just push the ones, the odd 2, a couple of big hits. If they could crawl to 150, that's at least a defendable total. Not an easily defendable total. Half volley on the legs and picks out the fielder at long leg. And Bartlett is out. Well, it was a full toss on the legs. Sorry, not a half volley. A full toss on the legs, clipped away by Xavier Bartlett, but he clips it straight to the man at long leg. Another one falls. It's 7 for 125 now. Spencer Johnson really is the key for the Brisbane Heat. 125 is clearly not enough to bowl at. I always say 140 is the minimum. 140 is a tough score to defend, but it is at least defendable. If you've got a good bowling attack, you can defend 140. It's possible. If you've got a good bowling attack, you can defend any score, really. Can. Not likely, but can. So look, Spencer Johnson is a bowler that's more than capable of coming out and just cleaning up the top order. Bowl him a couple of overs, he could take 4 or 5 wickets. Swings the entire game on its head. It's just unlikely, that's all. Unlikely. More often than not, it won't go that way. And as has been said previously in the chat room, the Sixers probably chew off these runs in about 12 overs. Swepson cuts this one fine off the legs for 1. 5 and a wicket off this over. Kerr has bowled extremely well. Last delivery here for Kerr. 2 for 18. He's bowled so well. Full outside off stump. Beats the infield, so they'll come back for 2. No, they hold for just 1. Paul Walter says, I'll have the strike, thanks, for the final over. 2 for 19. Kerr finishes on after his 4. He's bowled extremely well. 7 for 127, 1 over remaining. Ben Dorshus to bowl the last over, 2 for 21 so far. First ball is a slower one, and Paul Walter just edges it through to the keeper. Well, it was a slower delivery, banged in halfway down the pitch, and Paul Walter just feathers it through to the keeper. An absolute nothing burger of a shot. And an easy catch behind the wicket, and sums it up really for the Heat tonight. A soft dismissal there from Big Paul Walter. And he now looks incredibly foolish because he wanted the strike. He wanted to start this over. And he's now gone first ball. Ben Dorshus, 3 for 21. What a day out he has had. Bowled extremely well here for the Sydney Sixers. Very, very hard to defend. And Dorshus gets another one. Spencer Johnson has just come to the crease. Ben Dorshus is on a hat-trick. 4 wickets now. An easy catch there for Davies. The Brisbane Heat now 9 for 127. Dorshus on a hat-trick. And a hat-trick will get him a 5-fer. He's 4 for 21 off 3.2. The Brisbane Heat, it's their final over anyway, but they're on the cusp of being bowled out here. Kuhnemann out to bat. 9 for 127. Kuhnemann to face the hat-trick ball. Dorshus charging in. Oh, and it's an in-swinging Yorker on the stumps, and Kuhnemann punches it back for 1. He could still get a 5-fer here, though, Dorshus. Nine for 127. Oh, 128 now, sorry. That single. 3 deliveries left. This score, well, you'd have to feel that without just judging at face value, we can't judge for real until both teams are batted on it, but just judging on face value, you would have to say that this is a good 20 or 30 runs well short of the mark here for the Brisbane Heat. Dorshus bangs it in, and Swepson, a swing and a miss, and another air swing to add to the tally tonight. 2 balls remain. Slower delivery. Swepson lofts it in the air. Should be taken. Oh, there's nobody back there. Never mind. And it went for 6 anyway. Over the rope. Swepson, well, Swepson was denied the strike when Big Paul Walter refused to take the other run. Wanted the strike, got himself out, and Swepson maybe just making a statement here. Now backs away and ramps it over the keeper for 4. And Swepson maybe just making a little statement here to Big Paul Walter and saying, look, mate, you should have given me the strike to start the over. 2 wickets fell, 11 runs end up coming from it. And Ben Dorshus, his figures still very, very good, but copped a little bit of a pounding there the last 2 balls. And the Brisbane Heat finished 9 for 138. I mean, it's probably a good, as we said, a 20 or 30 runs too short. And the Sydney Sixers should chase this down with relative ease. I would give them 16 or so. I reckon they win it with a couple of overs to spare. Let's say Sydney Sixers chase this down with 7 wickets in hand and 2.3 overs to spare. I think they lose an early one. Spencer Johnson to take a wicket in the first over just to keep things interesting. Spencer Johnson will knock one over early, which will force the Sixers into a little bit of a defensive mindset, and they'll recover with the depth of their batting lineup and win this game with 2.3 overs to spare, 7 wickets in the dugout. Who is this girl that's hosting on Channel 7? She has got way too much energy. She is way too enthusiastic. 9 for 138. The Brisbane Heat have avoided being bowled out, but they also have not quite set themselves a target to bowl at. Spencer Johnson, a lot falls on his shoulders. Well, I mean, look, if there is any sort of silver lining, some sort of hope for the Brisbane Heat supporters like myself to cling to, it is this bowling attack. This bowling attack is more than capable of doing some damage. Against the Sydney Sixers batting lineup, maybe not so much. It's hard to see them coming back from this, but as I said, if there is a bowling unit capable of putting on a performance, it would be the Brisbane Heat. And a little bit of bias in that, yeah, probably, maybe. But we'll see. Time will tell. As we always say, every single stream, you never do quite know about a pitch until both teams have played on it. Both teams have batted or bowled on it before you make some sort of judgment call. So we'll see, but it's not looking good for the Brisbane Heat. Looking very, very good for the Sydney Sixers. And yes, Reef, I would bet the house on the fact that Spencer Johnson bowls first. Spencer Johnson to bowl the opening over is probably paying like $1.01 if you want to put it into betting odds. Spencer Johnson to open the bowling would be $1.01. Nine for 138, just shy of that 140 that we always say is the bare minimum. Resentful for life. Ahoy there, mate. How are you going? So for those who might be new to the Big Bash streams, I say that 140 is not a good score, necessarily. Depends on the pitch. On this pitch, 140, not necessarily a good score. But 140 is where you try and get yourself to at the absolute bare minimum. Now, they didn't quite get there, the Brisbane Heat. Not quite there. So they've left themselves a lot of work to do with the ball. I have to have faith in Spencer Johnson that he's capable of getting them back into it. But it is a tough ask. The Sydney Sixers are undefeated on top of the table. And there's a very good reason for that. They're very hard to beat at the best of times. Not least putting on a score like this. How are you doing, Resentful for Life? Anyways, mate, nice to see you again. Over there on the YouTube. Wasted World of Sports, of course, live on YouTube, live on TikTok, live on Facebook. And I can tell you, for those who were in the stream the other night and heard me banging on about Twitch, how we got banned from Twitch. We got banned from Twitch, and I said we would never go back there, even if they got down on their hands and knees and begged us to come back. Well, funny story, I received an email after that stream from Twitch apologizing for the banning and saying that the account restriction has been lifted and that we are more than welcome to stream on the platform once again. So I didn't tonight. And at the moment, I'm still a little dirty on them for banning us in the first place. But we'll see in 2025 if there's enough of a call for Twitch streams. I may go back there as an option. It was pretty funny, though, to have shared that story. The story of how we got randomly banned on Twitch. And then suddenly I don't know how or why they saw it. I don't know how or why they saw it. But reached out to us, and the ban's been lifted, apparently. Apple says no matter what sport you react to now, everyone getting banned. Is that right? Well, it's only been Twitch that I've had a problem with. We get some really, really random copyright strikes on YouTube. And I just respond to those copyright strikes and say, how is this copyright? I'm not even showing the game. I'm just sharing my opinion. And they reply and go, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Copyright lifted. It's like, how was it even done in the first place is the question that I really want answered. How is it even flagged? Jason Hayden reckons Sixers will get this within 15 overs. I reckon, Jason, that Erin Holland, that's who it is. She's got way too much energy. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's against the grain. All the other BBL commentators on TV look bored to be there. She looks very excited to have her job. I just find it very, very difficult to get hold of. Get behind, I mean. Oh, is that Ben Cunning's missus? Right. Well, there you go. Ben Cutting, former Brisbane Heat player, of course. Very hard done by, I think. Poor guy copped so much hate. And I'll raise my hand and say that I sometimes threw down unnecessary hate to Ben Cutting when he failed. But overall was such a reliable quality player with both bat and ball. And the Brisbane Heat certainly missed him tonight. Missed a player like him coming in late in the innings and saving the day. Copped some really unnecessary bollocks for Ben Cunny. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's his missus. Apple says people who react to WWE are getting banned a lot on TikTok. Very interesting, isn't it? It's very bizarre. Like I said about on YouTube, Bledisloe Cup game, we copped a copyright strike for a Bledisloe Cup game. Now we show no footage from the games at all on the streams. I did once in the early days. I did used to show replays. I used to pop replays up so that I could dissect and analyze them in the NRL. But I found out very, very quickly that that is a big no-no. Boy, did that got shut down quick smart. Anyway, Back to this game. No, 9 for 138 is abysmal. I reckon it's 20 or 30 runs too short. But we'll see. An early wicket from Spencer Johnson. That will make things very interesting indeed. Do I reckon the Heat still have a chance? Well, look, there's always a chance. There's always a chance. As it stands right now, it's a very, very slim chance. But a couple of early wickets, and you just never know. The Brisbane Heat basically have to follow the Sydney Sixers lead and bowl extremely well. But, I mean, to answer the question, yes, there is a chance, just not a very good one at the moment. But we might reflect on that question in a couple of overs' time and go, well, you know what? They might actually have a very good chance now. Such is the nature of T20 cricket, especially. It can swing very, 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 very quickly. Well, we'll see. The Sixers chasing 139 to win. Now, I stand by that it's probably 20 or 30 too short. Probably more on the 30 side, 30 to 40. I'm possibly being generous to the team that I support here and giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But a really poor score. It'll be very tough to defend. The Sydney Sixers start this run chase right on top. And it'll be a big, big effort here from the Heat to save this one. Spencer Johnson, you would expect, surely opens the bowling. But the Sydney Sixers, they've got quality and depth in this batting lineup. So even if they do lose some early wickets, certainly got the capabilities of recovering and chasing this down. Run chase coming up momentarily. We'll have a quick look at the table, shall we? Where have I got that? There, I think. We'll have a quick look at the table, where the Sixers at the moment on top, the only undefeated team, Renegades right behind them. The poor old Melbourne Stars at the moment, really on struggle street. And the Brisbane Heat just outside the top four. Raheem, ahoy there, mate. Raheem Cornwall, #1 fan. Welcome along over there on TikTok. Wasted Water Sports, of course. Live on TikTok, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. And now that we have been apologized to by Twitch and invited back, maybe go live again on Twitch soon. We'll see. I'm still a little bit dirty about it. I appreciate that they have apologized and acknowledged that the banning was completely wrong. But I'm still a little bit filthy about it. Sydney, alive. Thank you very much for the follow. Raheem Cornwall says, guess who your favorite player is? Raheem Cornwall? Well, it's either going to be that or it's going to be something completely random. Like, your username's Raheem Cornwall, #1 fan. And you pop into the streams and you say, guess who my favorite player is, because that's your username. But your favorite player is actually, like, I don't know, Glenn Maxwell or something. Because that'd be pretty funny. Sydney Alive says, will India chase down a target tomorrow? Well, they would be ridiculous to even try. To be perfectly honest, I think Australia batted too long. This is just my personal opinion. I'm certainly not an expert, but my personal opinion is Australia just batted about 10 to 15 overs too long. And India, if they're smart, will just come out and bat for the draw immediately tomorrow. There's no way they're chasing down over 300 in a day on a fifth day pitch. So there's absolutely no incentive for them to go for it. They're the current holders of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So Australia are the team that needs to win. I reckon they bat for the draw immediately and then go again in Sydney. Xavier Bartlett to bowl the first ball. Well, there you go. I would have bet the house on Spencer Johnson opening the bowling. We were talking about it at the innings break. Muffin Man Dan, thank you very much for the heart. Orlando Barron, who do I go for in the BBL? The Brisbane Heat, I'm afraid. Xavier Bartlett starts on target. Philippe and Vince, the opening batters here for the Sydney Sixers. And again, Bartlett on target. They push for a quick single, and that is well run there. Philippe going to the danger end. I still like Spencer Johnson to get a wicket, yes, but I am perplexed that he's not opening the bowling. I can only think that Spencer Johnson at the Gabba, this is a Brisbane Heat home game. I can only think that Spencer Johnson perhaps has a preferred end that he likes to bowl at here, and the opening over was not at his preferred end. That's all I can think of as to why he didn't open the bowling. If he's got a preferred end at his home ground, it makes sense. Give him that preferred end. Give him the second over. Bartlett in again. Nice outswinger. None for one, so a good opening over here from Xavier Bartlett. How long until Spencer Johnson bowls? About 3 balls, I reckon. He surely has the next over. Bartlett, another nice outswinger. Vince just pushes it away. Picks out cover, no run. Just 1 run from this opening over. It's a good start for Xavier Bartlett, who was a little disappointing last time out. We were talking about it, how Bartlett certainly didn't bowl up to his usual standards in the last game. But he has started very, very well here. Keeping the opening over very, very tight. 2 balls left. Drifts onto the legs this time. And it's punished by Vince. Racing around at fine leg. McSweeney, I think it is down there. Saves the boundary. They get another run, though. Scott, who do I follow in the NRL? Once again, I have to say, unfortunately, the Sharks. I seem to go for all the teams that suck but get the occasional fluke championship, you know, like the Sharks in 2016 and the Brisbane Heat last season. Swing and a miss outside off stump to finish the over from Vince. None for 3 to start. A good opening over there from Xavier Bartlett. They certainly need a few more of those, do the Brisbane Heat. 7.1, the required run rate. We will keep an eye on that for sure. We'll keep an eye on that. To be perfectly honest, Rakim, I don't even watch the test matches, let alone commentate on them. It's a T20 game is the perfect length for me. If I had like if I had a Fox Sports type, a Fox Sports sized broadcast team, if I had a whole bunch of other people that I hired to help me out throughout the course of a test match, I would do test matches. Here we go. Spencer Johnson into the bowling attack. Taking on Philippe, who just pushes the full ball into the offside for no run. Spencer Johnson on target. Immediately. The Sixers, none for 3. 1.1 overs gone. Cooper, thank you very much for the follow on TikTok. Johnson in again. Ball perfectly placed right on the stumps. And they take a quick run to the Sixers. Philippe running to the danger end again. Takes on the arm, takes on the fielder, and wins. Walshy edits. Ahoy, mate. Thank you very much for the follow. You're at the game. Oh, nice. Sold out, I heard, at the Gabba tonight. And the Brisbane Heat with a lot of work to do with the ball here. Do they still do that that Rocket Man at halftime? Do they still do that Rocket Man at innings break? Johnson in for his third ball. Gets the edge, but it beats the keeper for 4. Well, that's unlucky. An under edge. Back past the keeper for 4 behind the stumps. That is extremely unlucky. And that is 4 valuable runs off the bowling of Spencer Johnson. And the Brisbane Heat, too, I believe they used to have a mascot at the ground, a dancing mascot that looked like big swing and a miss from Fence. He went after that one with everything, and he comes up with nothing, a dot ball. They used to have a mascot that looked like the bad guy from The Incredibles. It was like the Brisbane Heat version of the Incredibles movie villain. None for 8 off 1.4. 7.15, the required rate. Full and on off stump. Punched away to the offside. No run. This is good bowling from Spencer Johnson, as always. I mean, I expect nothing less from Spencer. One of the best bowlers of the competition. So I've got a couple of players. If we talk about a dream team for BBL, a dream team for BBL, Jordan Silk is one of the first names I'm putting down just for his fielding alone. Spencer Johnson is one of the first names I'm putting down for his bowling. Final delivery of his opening over. It's a half volley outside off stump, and, well, commentator's curse strikes. The commentator's curse strikes. I had just talked him up as the best bowler in the competition and the first name on one of my team sheets, and he tosses up a half volley outside off stump and an absolute gift of a boundary. 4 gift runs there, and Spencer Johnson's worst ball of BBL 14 so far. None for 12 here. The Sixers in reply, needing 7.06 and over. They're currently going at 6. He gets to bowl again, Reef. It's all good. He gets to bowl 4 lots of 6 deliveries. He's bowled 1 lot of 6, so he's got 3 to go. Harley's AFL Talk says Philippe 50. Philippe 2 from 4 at the moment. Vince 10 from 8. Xavier Bartlett to bowl his second. Down the pitch goes Philippe, outside edge, but it's through the gap and down to the man at third man for 1 run. What have you got on the line, just out of curiosity, Reef? You had Ben Dorshus, right? Ben Dorshus and Spencer Johnson, wicket takers. Well, Ben Dorshus got 4. He did very well for you. Only, hey, $50 is nothing to sneeze. Outside edge, caught! Xavier Bartlett gets the breakthrough. They need wickets, and Xavier Bartlett, well, we talked about it at the innings break, didn't we? Xavier Bartlett got absolutely tonked all around the park last game against the Scorchers. He was always going to reply well, and he starts a perfectly placed ball right on middle stump with movement away from the right-hander, and Vince just prods at it, gets the outside edge, and what a catch in the slips there. Renshaw in the slips takes a blinder. It's 1 for 13, and that's a big wicket. Vince is back in the dugout. 1 for 13. The Sixers, well, we talked about it all through the innings break. They have the bowling unit capable of defending this. It's going to take wickets, and lots of them constantly. And Xavier Bartlett has come through, bagging the first one. No reprieve, though, as Curtis Patterson comes to the crease. A solid batting unit versus a solid bowling unit. We might still have a game on our hands here. That's a big wicket. Xavier Bartlett, 1 for 4 off 1.2 over so far. That run rate required still at 7.13. An early breakthrough was absolutely necessary, though, for the Brisbane Heat. Bartlett got his tail up now. Punched away from Patterson. First ball through the gap. Racing away to the boundary. Well fielded. They'll come back for a third, though. Saved to the boundary, but they still get 3, and that is a good start there for Patterson. Very confident. Just pushes that through the offside. Oh, did I see a few raindrops there on the camera? Rain could still play a part here. And if rain's going to play a part and Duckworth-Lewis starts to get involved, wickets will become critical here for the Heat. One for 16. Rain. Yeah, rain's not necessarily good for anybody. Reef, to be honest. Philippe goes for the big hit, gets the top edge. It's straight up in the air, and 2 Brisbane Heat fielders converge. No communication, and it drops between both of them. Big Paul Walter and Colin Munro. No communication between mid-on and mid-off, and it falls comfortably between the two of them. Well, that is a huge moment in the game. It should have been an easy catch for either one of them. Somebody needed to call it. In the end, nobody wants it, and it drops safe between them. They both just stand and watch it. Nobody has even tried to catch that. They've left it for the other player. And 0 communication. That is a huge let-off. Philippe would have been a massive wicket. Oh, that's a huge let off. That could be. It's still early days, but that could be the game right there. That is just schoolboy stuff there. No communication from the fielders. Walter and Munro both just waiting for the other to call it. Nobody calls it. And down it goes. What a moment. Big moment in the game, that one. Massive let off. Bartlett in again. He's bowling well. Beautiful shape. Back into the left-hander. Gets away from Walter this time. A misfield. Well, a catch that should have been taken and now a misfield for 2 runs. 1 for 10. Xavier Bartlett should have had 2. What a moment that could be. 1 for 19. The Sydney Sixers. 3 overs gone, but boy, Philippe and the Sixers have just been given a massive, massive gift. The Brisbane Heat. Unbelievable. What a let off. Spencer Johnson back into the attack. They're keeping the pressure on, keeping the heat on, if you will. Keep the heat on. The pressure. Johnson, well bowled, beats the bat. They come through for a quick single. Chance of a run out if he hits, but he misses the stumps. Well, they're certainly not making this run chase look easy at the moment. The Sydney Sixers. Making life very difficult for themselves. 1 for 20. Johnson bangs it in shorter, pulled away. Doesn't carry to the man at long leg, just the one. We're cheering on this wicket for you, Reef. Two singles to start here. 6.3 the current run rate. 7.08 required. The Heat at this exact point were 1 for 23. The Sixers, after 4 overs, they were 1 for 23. At the moment, 3.2. The Sixers 1 for 21. Very evenly poised game. Well played away from Philippe. He was given a lifeline. They'll come back for 3 here. Extremely well run. And they are now just ahead of where the Brisbane Heat were, but making hard work of it. So potentially not necessarily as easy to bat on this pitch as we perhaps anticipated. Johnson, full ball. Right on middle stump, pushed away for no run. This is good bowling. They're giving themselves every opportunity here, the Heat. How important will that missed catch be? 2 deliveries remain. Oh, Renegades on top. Thank you very much, sir, for another finger heart. Well bowled again, Johnson. Perfectly on target. Just fended away for no run. 1 ball to go. They might just be seeing Spencer Johnson off here. 1 for 24. After 4 overs, the Brisbane Heat were 1 for 23, I believe it was, they said. Very, very closely balanced game. Johnson onto the legs, turned away for 1. A single to finish. It was well bowled by Johnson halfway through. He's only halfway through, Reef. It's all good. He's still got 2 overs remaining. 1 for 24. That's the end of the power play. All right, he'll have a little bit of a break. Aussie Mozzie, ahoy, mate. How are you, sir? It's all right, Reef. He'll have a little bit of a break before he bowls again, so you're going to have to sweat it out for a little bit longer. Kerneman into the bowling attack. Patterson backs away, pulls him to the boundary for 4. What a start that is. The Brisbane Heat, they turn to spin. And Patterson, the best possible start. Well, the best possible start would be a 6, I suppose. Aussie Mozzie, you need Johnson for 2 plus wickets. I was a little bit surprised, Aussie Mozzie. It was Xavier Bartlett who's done the damage early for the Heat. I had Spencer Johnson as well. But I suppose it's good news for the Heat. Defending a small total, Xavier Bartlett getting the first wicket. Johnson has still got his wickets up his sleeve for a little later on. 109 needed off 94 balls now. That run rate has just dipped under 7. The run rate required dipping under 7 for the first time in this chase. Kerneman, 6 runs from the over so far. Floats this one up, almost caught and bowled. It's just over the outstretched arm of the bowler. Almost another one there for the Heat. Just got enough on that to beat the bowler. Close. They are certainly tossing up some chances here, the Sixers. Kerneman floats it up again. Out to deep extra cover for 1. Just singles, that's really all they need to do. The Sixers at the moment can build up towards a power surge. Just pushing ones. They don't need to do anything crazy, but it feels like every time I say a team doesn't need to do anything crazy, they go and do something crazy and get themselves out. Solid over that one, though. 8 from it, or 9, perhaps, with the single at the end there. 1 for 34, the Sixers. The required run rate, bang on 7 and over. That should be pretty easy pickings from here with wickets in the dugout. 5 overs down. And big Paul Walter to come into the bowling attack. What can the big fella come up with? The Heat need regular wickets. Crucial to defending this total. Walter A full ball. Right on the toes. Edges it away for one. Patterson, 14 from 11. Philippe, 10 from 10. Very, very delicately poised game. I mean, the Sixers would still be favourites at this point. Wickets are the key for the Heat, obviously. Walter, a slower ball. Turned away down to long on, just the one run. This is good bowling. They're giving themselves every chance at the moment, the Heat. Responding well with the ball. But let's not forget they've already left a wicket out there. A big mix-up in the field. No communication. The ball dropped between two. And short ball, Patterson says, thank you. Patterson. Short ball. A gift. He pulls it away for 6. Well, I think it's gone for 6. It's hit the rope on the full. 6 runs, that one. And that's really poor bowling from Paul Walter. A gift there for Patterson. A gift for the Sixers. Takes the rope on the full. 6 runs. Mind you, I don't know why hitting the rope on the full is 6 runs. Should be 4. I've always associated 6 with being over something, right? 6, for me, has always been going over. You hit it over something. Over the rope, over the fence. But for some reason now, rope on the full is 6 runs. And 6 it is. And again, Walter bangs it in short. Pulled away. 4 this time. A 6 and a 4. Patterson is flying along here. And he has certainly earmarked Big Paul Walter, it would seem, as an opportunity for a lot of runs. And a lot of runs. He's getting that required run rate now. Under 6.5 and over. This has been a big over, and a big over that the Brisbane Heat never got. That's the key. The Brisbane Heat just never found a Sixers bowler to take it. And now wide down the leg side. Not called. Not called by the umpire. Well, there's a gift for Big Paul. 12 off the over. And a dot ball, a much-needed one. Last ball here, Big Paul. Drops it in short again, pulled away for 4. Right between the gap of the men out there on the boundary, square leg and mid-wicket. Punches it between both of them, and that's a massive over. 16 from it. And Big Paul Walter, well, that was an over to forget. A big one for the Sixers. And they move to 1 for 50. Well and truly in command now. Well and truly on top. Swepson into the attack, going straight to spin. And that Sixers worm now has leapt ahead of where the Brisbane Heat were after 6 overs. Swepson needs a big over this one. 89 needed off 84 balls. They need to put some pressure back on the Sixers batsmen here. They need that run rate to blow out a little bit, at least. Swepson starts full, punched away to long off for one. Patterson, 29 of 16, taking the lead here. Philippe more than happy to play the supporting role. The current run rate, 8.27. They only require 6.3. Swepson bangs it in. It's been lifted down to long on for one. Doing it comfortably at the moment. The Sixers, after an early scare, should have been 2 down. And it might have been a completely different story at 2 down. Swepson tosses this one up. Cut away for no run. Picks out the man at point. Reef says, do they rest players in a guaranteed loss often? Sweeps this one away for 4. Swepson drifts onto the legs, and Philippe, that's a gift for a player of his talent. Sweeps it away for 4 runs. Picks the gap between the outfielders. Beautiful hit. Swepson tosses this one up. Gets the under edge. Dot ball. Yeah, it's not Swepson tosses it up. Philippe charges him and puts him into the stands over long on. Philippe says, I'll have a piece of that. 12 off the over. And the Sixers 1 for 62 after 7, cruising along here. Reef, to answer the question, no, there's not normally time to rest players, to be honest, in the BBL. It's a short-form tournament. It's a short-form game of cricket. T20. It's a short-form game in a short-form tournament. So there's not really opportunities to rest players. .85 meters over long on. Philippe now getting involved. Joining the party. .77 needed from 78 balls. The required run rate's under 6 and over. Big Paul Walter starts with a wide down the leg side. He's not bowling well tonight, Big Paul. Did some solid work with the bat to try and keep the Brisbane Heat interested. But he is really stinking out the Gabba tonight with his bowling. None for 17 off 1 over. Bangs it in short. Patterson hooks him away along the ground for 1. 5.85, the required run rate. Under 6 and over. The Sixers, with 2 set batsmen, they can really control the flow of this game here. 1 wicket down. They're making very light work of it at the moment. They needed early wickets, did the Heat. They had their opportunity. They got one with Xavier Bartlett. Bartlett should have had a second. One for 65. 74 needed off 76. They can just cruise this along, and I think they do. I honestly do think that they just cruise along from here on in. They don't really need to take any big chances. Walter, and again, gets the outside edge. It's up in the air, but into space. Another single. 4 from this over so far. One for 66, 7.3. Slower ball onto the legs. Philippe happy to just turn it away for 1. And just wait for the bad ball. It's all that's needed. Nothing silly needed here for the Sixers. There are singles all over the park. Take the ones. Wait for the bad ball. Even if they just take the ones from here on in, they get the win. One for 67. Walter in again. Gets the outside edge. And the catch is taken. Patterson is gone. Just hangs the bat out. Gets the edge. And a massive wicket. They needed that so badly, did the Heat. Well, it was a nothing shot, really, from Patterson. Has a big swipe at it outside off. Feathers the edge. Pearson takes the catch. 2 for 67. Well, what was that shot even from Curtis Patterson? He's made a solid contribution, though, to this run chase, and he's got his team off to a red-hot start. They are well on top still, despite the fall of that wicket. But, boy, he would want his time over again. An absolute nothing of a shot. That is a gift. Well, the Brisbane Heat gifted the Sixers a let-off earlier in the innings, and maybe that is just repaying the favour. Moises Henriques out to the crease. Final delivery here for Walter, his second over. He's got a wicket. 1 for 21 off 1.5. He's got a soft dismissal, but boy, he has leaked some runs as well. Nicely bowled to finish that second over. Walter full and on middle stump and just pushed away for no run. 2 for 67 at the end of 8. Sixers need 72 runs off 72 balls. Wickets are obviously the key. State the obvious. Wickets are the key. When do they turn back to... It's too early at the moment, obviously, but when do they turn back to Spencer Johnson? When do they bring him in? It's a little too early at the moment. Philippe, 24 off 18. Henriques, the new man at the crease. Oh, well, a little bit too early. Maybe not. They are going for the jugular now. Spencer Johnson back into the bowling attack. Well, the Brisbane Heat have obviously decided they are not going to win this game by just sitting back and waiting. They have turned to their star bowler to try and get the breakthrough, take advantage of a fresh man at the crease. This is a very bold call. Johnson in again. It's cut away from Philippe, just the one. All right, so Johnson does get a crack at the fresh man. That's exactly what they would have wanted. A single to start for Philippe and Spencer Johnson to have a crack at Henriques. And if they make this breakthrough, the Brisbane Heat have gone all or nothing here, I feel. Best bowler against the best Sixers batsman. They've obviously decided they're not going to win this game by just sitting back and waiting, holding back their key bowlers to the end. They need wickets now. Johnson to the fresh man, Henriques. Almost beats him. And it's just punched down into his own toes. And away for a dot ball. And Johnson is running back to his mark. He's definitely got his tail up here, Spencer Johnson. Two for 68. .2 overs gone. Wickets the key. Fallen on or stump. Punched away into the gap. They'll come back for at least two. Well, it beats the fielder. And that's 4 runs. That's poor fielding. McSweeney. Really poor fielding. Wow. Spencer Johnson. He's such a good bowler, Spencer. But I'm just starting to worry for you, Reef. I'm just starting to get slightly concerned for you now, mate, because he's only got 1 over left. Replies after the boundary with a dot ball. Two deliveries left in this over. Big deliveries in the context of the game. This one, Johnson, and again beats the bat. Well, the appeal from behind the stumps. The umpire is unmoved. They will surely review this, the Heat. There was big deviation back through to the keeper, Pearson. They have to. And they do. Colin Munro calls for the DRS review. They absolutely have to. Whether or not there was an edge on this or not, they need the wicket right now. Spencer Johnson does not seem confident. There was a big deviation. He's beaten Henriques. They need this breakthrough, the Heat. They need it. Beautiful delivery. I think Henriques he's late on that. I think he's missed it completely. That was just movement off the pitch. It was such a good ball. Pearson was very interested. Oh, that's missed everything, that. That looks like it's missed everything. Ollie is the best. Ahoy there, mate. And ahoy to your friend Eli. That's missed everything. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know why the Brisbane Heat are so excited about this DRS review, because that has missed the edge completely. Spencer Johnson is high-fiving all around. I really don't know why, because this has clearly missed the edge of the bat. Spencer Johnson seems very happy about it, though. I don't know why the Brisbane Heat players just got so excited. Seems to have clearly missed the edge. A chorus of boos rains out from the home fans, but it's hard to know why. Clearly missed the edge. Well, 5 runs from the over, and a very, very near thing for a wicket. Spencer Johnson, the final ball of his 3rd over. And it's just pushed away from Henriques, fended away. on the leg side for a dot ball. 3 overs gone for Johnson. He's got 1 left. Reef, he's got 6 balls left. They'll hold him back for the end now, surely. They kind of went all or nothing there. That would have been a massive wicket. But they have survived. And that, to me, is a clear advantage to the Sixers winning that little period. That over. A wicket there would have been massive. It would have given the Heat so much momentum. Probably tomorrow, Ollie is the best. Kerneman into the attack. None for 9 off his first. Needs to tighten things up here big time. Lordy. Kerneman to Philippe. Philippe's 25 off 19. Certainly the key to the Sixers' run scoring at the moment. 67 off 66 they need. Kerneman in. Wide outside off stump. Philippe cuts it away. Fielder out there, though, at deep point. Just the one. Kerneman will be just looking to keep things tight here. The occasional dot ball, but just singles outside of that. And if he gets a gift wicket, then that's a bonus. Two for 73. They being the Sixers, certainly haven't made the light work of this run chase that we expected. Well, that's a good hit there. Henriques. It was tossed up outside off stump, and, well, that's poor bowling from Kerneman. That's just really poor bowling. And Henriques just lifts it through the offside for 4. He's just tossed up a half volley outside off stump. And Henriques, boom. Perfectly played. In between point and cover. 4 runs. Straightens it up a bit this time, Kerneman, and it's just punched down the ground for 1 to long on. Three balls left. Philippe cuts it away, picks out the man, just 1. So, all right, Reef, it's not over yet. 6 balls to go. 6 deliveries left. He will definitely bowl again. 2 left here for Kerneman. Again, just bended back down the ground for 1. Wide outside off, cuts away in the air, over the top of the infield for 4. Well, this is just such poor bowling from Kerneman. Really, really poor. And that's just gift runs for the Sixers. Defending a small total and just hanging half volleys out, up outside off stump. Really poor from Kerneman. Really poor from the Brisbane Heat. 2 for 84. The Sixers cruising along nicely now. 5.5 runs and over required. But they are travelling along much faster than that. 8.4. Their current run rate. Well ahead of what's needed. Well, I did tip the Sydney Sixers to win based on the bat flip. But just not... I'm surprised, really. I'm surprised, really. just not not really tossing anything up, not offering anything. Two wickets to fall in this run chase. Reef is asking when he gets to go again. They'll give him some time off now. They need to hold him for one. I suspect that they need to hold him for one for the back end. I mean, we're only halfway through the run chase at the moment. I would anticipate they hold him back just in case. For one at the death, he might bowl, depending on where the score goes from here. He'll be a few overs away at the earliest. Swepson back into the attack. None for 12 off his first over so far. Nowhere near good enough. The Sixers need 55 runs or 60 balls. I reckon if that gets down to around about 20, they'll turn to Johnson again. Manus Kings says Ben Dorsh's mustache. Fire. We love a good 80s porn stash. Logan Bradbury. Ahoy there, mate. No, I follow Test cricket. Down the leg side, appeal from Pearson. They have no reviews left. The umpire shakes his head. No chance of a review. Looked like it was off the pads, though. And it was off the pad. Swepson bowling better this over. Now lifts it almost straight to the man. At fine leg, big Paul Walter dives forward. And it lands just short of him. Painfully close here for the Heat. And big Paul Walter just couldn't quite get down on that one. That was so close. Ollie is the best. Cheers, mate. I appreciate the kind words. Philippe rocks back and cuts this one away. Pulls it away, sorry. Rocks back and pulls this away. Square the wicket for one. So yeah, Logan, I don't really watch Test cricket. I follow it. Like, I'll have the scoreboard up as I'm going about my daily routine, but yeah, I don't actively sit down and watch it. My opinion, though, on the current test is Australia just batted too long. I think Australia needed to be aggressive and proactive and send India in for 10 or 15 overs today. And then have a proper crack at them tomorrow morning. But as it stands at the moment, I think sometimes you've just got to dangle a carrot. You've got to dangle a carrot to the opposition. Keep them interested. I think they just played themselves out, Australia. India will be looking at the 300-plus total and going, nobody is chasing that down. So we'll just bat for the draw and we'll go again in Sydney. It would be ludicrous of India to try and chase this total down on the final day. It'd be crazy. Who's my favorite BBL player? Asks Manus. As Walter comes in again, a full toss. Henriques pushes it away to the offside for one. Oh, my favorite BBL player. Well, I was always, all time, I was always a very, very big fan. I mean, when Chris Gale was playing BBL, big fan of Chris Gale. Big fan of Brendan McCullum, if we're talking all time. Favorite player right now, bloody. I mean, if I pick somebody from my team, Spencer Johnson, but I am really liking and admiring Ben Duckett at the moment, as crazy as that might seem. Paul Walter starts with a single and a dot ball here in his third over. 1 for 22. 2 for 90, the Sixers. Philippe turns it off the hip. At least one. They might push for two. They do. That's really well run. That is extremely good running there from the Sixers. And they've turned that into 2 runs. 3 off the over so far. 3 balls gone. That's all they need to do. 5.65. That's all they need. And they'll win this game. 5.65 and over. 47 needed off 51 balls. Walter. Slower ball. Turned off the legs, almost caught by Pearson, but it beats him. And they come back for 2 more. Very well run. Mana says, what's your one stadium in Australia? MCG, Adelaide Oval, Gabba, Optus, and Blundstone. What's the question? My number one stadium, my favorite stadium. Well, I haven't been to a lot of those. Walter, full, and almost beats the bat. Philippe manages to just plug it down. No run. But he's very nearly clean bowled him. I've not been to very many of those. I've been to a lot of games at the Gabba, considering I live in Brisbane. That makes sense. I've never been to Adelaide Oval. I've never been to Optus Stadium. I've never even heard of Blundstone. And the only times I've been to the MCG, it's never been for sport. I went to the MCG for a concert once. Turned away for a single to finish the over. Two for 94, the Sixers, but still in full control of this run chase. Oh, Blundstone is in Tasmania. Ah, right, the Hurricanes. So I've never even been to Tasmania, let alone gone to a sporting event there. So there you go. That makes sense. Two for 95. The Sydney Sixers only needing 44 runs now. It's starting to get to the point now where the Brisbane Heat, they might just need to throw Spencer Johnson out there and have a crack. They've turned to Swepson, though. 44 or 48 needed. They need wickets, and they need wickets quick, smart. Swepson tosses it up, and Philippe dances down the pitch and just casually lifts it down the ground, and it's over. Long on. 6 runs. 6 straight down the ground, and Philippe just made that look so casual. Unbelievable. And now he turns this one away, picks out big Paul Walter at fine leg, and they take him on, and they get a single. Mana says you're getting close to 1,000 followers on TikTok. Nice. Cheers to everybody who's followed along on TikTok. Very much appreciated. 1,000 followers on TikTok, or getting close to. Henriques gets the top edge, but it lands safely. But approaching 1,000 followers on TikTok to go with our 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Cheers to all of you, the Wasted World of Sports family. I will drink to that. Swing and a miss down the leg side from Philippe, and it's called a wide. A late call from the umpire. 9 from this over so far. Swepson, none for 26 of 2.3. It's nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. Okay, so they've pretty much got to turn to Johnson. They need Spencer Johnson to try and turn this around, and Philippe pulls it away for 4. Well, Swepson has been awful tonight. Kuhneman's been awful. The spinners have really let the Brisbane Heat down. Well, the batsmen let the Brisbane Heat down because the Sydney Sixers are actually showing that this might not have been that difficult a pitch to bat on. They are cruising along here. Swepson's gone for 13, and now down the pitch, Philippe's come racing through for a single. Henriques wasn't interested, sends him back, but there was no real threat of a run out. 2 for 108. 13 overs gone. And, yeah, I mean, they've really got to turn to Spencer Johnson now. Runs are running out. Time is running out. 31 from 43. The Sixers, without losing wickets, will just cruise to this. And as much as they might not want to, I do think they've got to turn to Spencer Johnson pretty much now. Another big over here. Swepson, 3 overs, none for 30. He's been awful tonight. So too has Kuhneman. Really poor bowling from the spinners. And the Sydney Sixers on the cusp of victory now. So close. Let's see. Do they turn to Spencer Johnson? I feel like they almost have to. They've got to throw everything at it now. Sydney Thunder versus the Melbourne Renegades tomorrow. Should be a good game. I'm liking the looks of the Renegades. The Renegades, I think, have become my adopted team for BBL 14, since apparently my team's crap. My team, the Brisbane Heat, they're apparently quite terrible this year. So the Melbourne Renegades, my adopted team, really hoping they go well. Well, they have turned to their big guns. The Heat, running out of time, running out of chances. They have turned to their big guns. Xavier Bartlett now in. Drifts onto the legs to start. It's pulled away for 1. The Sydney Sixers, Philippe, 47 of 33. Making light work of this run chase. As we anticipated, right? Xavier Bartlett, 1 for 11 of 2.1. It'll be Bartlett and Johnson back-to-back here. Top edge over the keeper for 4. Well, when it's going your way, right? A top edge over the keeper for 4 for Henriques. And ever since that miscommunication, the gift catch that they didn't take, it has not at all gone their way here, the Brisbane Heat, ever since that moment. Heel Fries, ahoy, mate. How are you, buddy? Henriques turns it off the hip. Just 1. Oh, they're going to push for 2. That is extremely well run. And we just did not see that from the Brisbane Heat batsman. Doing very well, thank you, sir. Heel Fries. I quit my job and I do streaming full time now. All sports, all around the world. It's 24/7 Waste to Water Sports. Live on YouTube, live on TikTok, live on Twitch, live on Facebook. We're everywhere, man. We're everywhere. And of course, in Toxie Gamer, starting again in 2025. I'm a full-time streamer, officially. Xavier Bartlett, very unlucky to have gone for 7 runs here off this over. Reef, thank you very much for the follow over there on TikTok, mate. Cheers. And 1 over to go, Reef. Spencer Johnson for any time wicket taker. Bartlett full. Outside off stump. Misses the edge. Well bowled. Trent draws. Thank you very much for the follow. Heel Fries, what do you reckon about the recruitment for the Eels this season upcoming? I don't think it's bad. And just quietly, the Parramatta Eels are a red-hot chance to pick up the cheese as well. There's whispers going around. Cheese could be on his way to Para. That'd be a great pickup, I reckon. Bartlett with the last ball of his third over. Henriques charges. And a swing and a miss outside off stump. Luca, thank you very much for the follow on TikTok. We are charging towards 1,000 followers over there on the TikTok. You don't really rate the cheese, Heel Fries? It'd be a great Reed Marnie substitute, though, is what I was thinking. Because Reed Marnie, in my opinion, was kind of the same. Like, not necessarily a standout player. I never really rated Reed Marnie as being like a rep level player, but a very, very solid club player. Cheese has just never quite fit in at the Roosters. Well, they've gone to Kuhnemann here, the Brisbane Heat. I don't understand this call at all. I do not understand this decision. Kuhnemann has gone for none for 21 off his 2 overs so far. The opposition needs 23 runs from 36 balls. You need wickets to even think about turning this game around. Why have they not turned to Spencer Johnson? He must be injured. He must be not at 100%. That's the only thing I can think of. They've gone to a player who's got tonked, and he's now been dismissed for 4 on the first delivery. Well, this is a bizarre decision from the Heat. Philippe brings up his 50. Just steps back, gives himself room. Kuhnemann, none for 25 off 2.1. He's just tossing up pies all night long. And this is a bizarre, bizarre call from the Brisbane Heat. Spencer Johnson must be hurt, is all I can think of. You need wickets. You need wickets fast. You turn to your top bowlers. He's got to be hurt. He's got to be hurt. It's the only thing that makes sense right now. He must be struggling with a niggle, and they've decided that this game's gone already, so why risk hurting him anymore? It's the only thing that I can think of right now. 16 needed from 33 deliveries. Now the Sixers well and truly on top. Undefeated at the top of the table and looking to remain that way. Kuhnemann into the attack. What a bizarre call. Drifts onto the legs and just punched away for 1 down the leg side. $15 off 32. I will not be able to make heads or tails of this decision from the Heat. What do you think of the new layout, Heel Fries? By the way, The feedback has been mixed. There seems to be a lot of old school West of Water Sports subscribers on YouTube that liked the basicness, I suppose. The old school, just pure green wall behind me. I thought that since I quit my job and I do this full time now, I'll actually make the effort and actually use the green screen as it was intended to be. But yes, there are some hardcore, long-time West of Water Sports subscribers on YouTube that are like, we do kind of miss the dank green background. The end of Kuhneman's over. He was punished once again. 2 for 126 here. The Sixers, 13 runs needed for the Sixers to remain undefeated at the top of the table. Sailing along to victory. Hey, Michelle, Heel Fries is back. Just so you know, Michelle hides away on TikTok these days, Heel Fries. Sorry. Here we go. Spencer Johnson. Well, it's an over too late. Well, once again, he possibly has a preferred end here at the Gabba. Sorry, Heel Fries. My bad. Spencer Johnson in. Needs some wickets. Inside edge past the stumps. And away it goes to fine leg for a single. Well, that was very nearly it, Reef. 5 balls remain. The game's probably gone. We just need for Reef's multi, for Spencer Johnson to get a breakthrough here. 5 deliveries to go. Shorter ball. Hooked away from Henriques, just the one. 4 balls left. Oh, it's going down to the wire. Jacob Allen says the Sixers have got to take the power surge after this Johnson over. Well, I mean, the beauty of the situation for the Sixers is they don't have to. They don't need the surge at all to still win this game. They might be happy to just not take the surge and punch the ones. Philippe goes for the hook. It's nobody back there for the Heat. And it's 2 bounces over the rope for 4. My thoughts on Philippe. Oh, champion. Champion. I'm definitely picking him for a T20 team. 7 from this over so far. Johnson in again. Shorter ball pulled away again for 4. Well, Spencer Johnson has been taken to task here. $11 runs from the over. Unbelievable. Well, they don't need the power surge. I told you. Yes, Heel Fries. We will be back tomorrow. BBL 14 continues. The Melbourne Renegades, my adopted team, because my team's shit. My team is so terrible, I've adopted a team this year. Melbourne Renegades taking on the Sydney Thunder, I think. I saw that it was. Pushed away for a single. 1 run needed to win now for the Sixers. And they stay at the top of the table, undefeated. Two for 138. The final ball of Spencer Johnson's spell. Wide outside of stump, cut away. No wickets for Spencer Johnson tonight. Wow. Reef, he has done you dirty. Spencer Johnson has done you dirty. Not only did Spencer Johnson not get a wicket tonight, he got taken to task. They absolutely spanked him. One run needed for the Sixers. They haven't even needed to take the power surge. Such was the domination of this run chase. They did not even need to take the surge. Xavier Bartlett to bowl his last over. To Josh Philippe, 62 of 40. What a performance it's been for him. And there's the winning runs. Philippe clips it off the legs away to the boundary for 4. And the Brisbane Heat, defending champions, look like absolute defending chumps at the moment in BBL 14. The Sydney Sixers remain undefeated at the top of the table. And they have run this down very, very quickly. Josh Philippe, a slow start, but he controlled this run chase. So impressively did he control this run chase. I should shave my head so that I look just like him. Well, no, I've still got a way more... Even if I shave my head, I still have a way more immaculate beard than Josh Philippe. That little bum fluff that he's got on the chin there. But what a performance from the Sydney Sixers. Undefeated at the top of the table. They have certainly set the tone for BBL 14 as the team to beat. Sydney Sixers and the Melbourne Renegades. I'm thinking at the moment, the Perth Scorchers have probably got the most room for improvement. I'm saying most room for improvement, Perth Scorchers. But at the moment, in terms of form, Sydney Sixers clearly. Sydney Sixers and the Melbourne Renegades, I reckon. The Melbourne Renegades in action tomorrow, taking on the Sydney Thunder. Can't wait for that one. I tipped the Sydney Sixers tonight, which means I move ahead of Michelle in the Wasted Water Sports tipping contest. And let's face it, that's all we really care about. As long as I beat her, it's all good. Big victory here for the Sydney Sixers. Taking it to the Brisbane Heat. Very disappointing. Probably most disappointing, though, were the Heat spinners. Swepson and Kuhneman were both absolutely tonked. And once again, as we always talk about, such is the price of KFC these days. They're giving away KFC boxes as prizes for man of the match. Ben Dorshus, KFC player of the match, gets his Zinger box as a reward. And fair call too, Ben Dorshus, 4 wickets. Destroyed the Brisbane Heat batting lineup. 4 for 32 of his 4 overs. And it was a little bit of a no contest here tonight, really. And disappointing. I mean, this was a grand final rematch. Let's not forget that. This was the, to put it into rugby league terms, right? This was the Penrith Panthers, Melbourne Storm. Supposedly. The trouble is the Brisbane Heat have just lost key players to their grand final push. Josh Brown, no less. Josh Brown to the Renegades, and it's no surprise that the big fella has moved to the Renegades, and the Renegades are doing well this season, and the Brisbane Heat are kind of sucking, to be honest, especially in their last two games. Very, very poor. My concern for the Heat this year... Oh, absolutely. Heel fries, do it, mate. Sydney Sixers are undefeated at the top of the table. Sydney Sixers versus Melbourne Renegades was my early call for the grand final this year, BBL 14. So, and you're from New South Wales at least, so it makes sense that you would go for a Sydney team. I would absolutely jump on with the Sixers. If you're going to jump on with anyone, they're good. Oh, so heel fries on YouTube. Waste the World of Sports, of course. For those who are new, joining us live on YouTube, live on TikTok, live on Twitch, live on Facebook. Wasted World of Sports on all of those avenues. Over on YouTube, heel fries has said, so they're good. Well, don't make me support a team then. Make me suffer. Okay, heel fries, if you want to suffer, you are officially supporting the Melbourne Stars in BBL 14. Bottom of the table at the moment with no wins. That is your team, the Melbourne Stars. All right, Wasted World of Sports, thank you so much for joining me for this one. BBL 14 will continue tomorrow as the Sydney Thunder take on the Melbourne Renegades. The Melbourne Renegades, my adopted team. So go for them, heel fries. The Melbourne Renegades, my adopted team. Sydney Sixers, undefeated at the top of the table. Way too strong once again here tonight. Way too strong for the Brisbane Heat. And a big victory. Wasted World of Sports. So much action coming for the rest of the year. The BBL... and into the new year. And, of course, next year we've got the NRL, we've got Super Rugby, we've got the Rugby Championship, there's a Lions Tour, State of Origin. It's all happening. So much content is coming in the new year. We've got podcasts starting. The League Lounge will be continuing on the YouTube channel. So much stuff coming in 2025. The rebirth of Intoxigamer. It's all happening in 2025. I can't wait. Thank you so much for your company. This one, as always, will be back tomorrow as BBL 14 continues. Sydney Thunder versus the Melbourne Renegades. We will catch you then. Until that, cheers, my friends.